Welcome to A Few Thoughts About, the show where we dig into thinking and how it shapes our experience of life. Each week, I share insights and observations to get you thinking. No long lectures, just quick, thought-provoking episodes to shift perspectives so that you can make the change you want to make. Let's get into it. Hey, before we get started, I want to invite you to join me and my good friends Sam and Ellie for some free coaching calls. So we have been having such a great time in our membership and the stuff that we've done in the Live, Present, and Sober group, and we want to share that with people. We are hosting a completely free coaching call. A totally free call where you can join us. Sometimes it'll be all three of us. Sometimes it'll just be one of us. Sometimes it'll be two of us. You never know what you're going to get, but you will absolutely get a fantastic opportunity to ask questions, to get coached, and to be part of a conversation. So if you have been curious, if you've been like, man, I really wonder what those three weirdos are doing on their calls, I want to invite you to join us. There is a link in the show notes where you can go and get signed up. These calls happen once a month. We're rotating times, we're rotating days. So if you go sign up, you will get emails that will tell you when the calls are going to be and how you can join. So please come join Sam and Ellie and I for free Live, Present, and Sober coaching calls. They are going to be awesome. That is it for me. Let's start the show. Well, hello there, and welcome to A Few Thoughts About Choice. This is a topic that my good friend Russ recommended. So thank you, Russ, for this recommendation. It's such a big idea. It's such a big topic. And so I always appreciate people reaching out to tell me. And if you have a recommendation, go to scottpinyard.com/podcast. Or if you're with me in one of my groups or otherwise know me, just tell me in person. I love suggestions and I love to talk about things that you guys want to hear about. And so this week, we're going to talk about choice. And there's so many different ways to discuss it. And I tried to boil it down to a few that I think are really, really important when it comes to the process of change. Now, as usual, I'm going to talk about this with alcohol, but as usual, this applies to lots of different things we want to change. And the first place I wanted to start is this idea that I feel like a lot of people have, that I just need to choose to not drink, right? Especially if we're dealing with something that can be addictive. It can seem like, oh, I just need to choose not to do this, and then everything will be fine. Like if I choose not to do this, then I just won't drink and it'll all be good. And it might seem that way from the outset, but as many of us find out, oftentimes change is a lot harder. So it's a lot more difficult than just a choice. As a matter of fact, a lot of times trying to make that choice and force ourselves is much harder. So I wanted to actually take this idea of choice a little bit deeper and talk about the fact that the process of change is really just one choice after another, after another, after another. And those choices, by the way, don't need to be these massively complicated ones, right? These really intense, I will never drink again. Like sometimes the choice you make in the process is to listen to a podcast like this, or join a course, or read a book, or read a blog, or watch YouTube videos, or be in a coaching membership, whatever it is, right? We make these choices, and these choices add up to getting us to where we want to go. And this is a really helpful way to break things down, because I think a lot of times people look at this process of quitting drinking and they think about, oh my God, how am I ever going to get there? Like I've had so many people reach out to me and tell me, I have been trying this for years. I don't see how I'm ever going to make it to the other side. And 99.9% of the time when someone is saying this, they have made progress and they've ignored this progress because they're only looking at the end line. They're not looking at the choices they're making all the way and how those choices add up. Every day, we have an opportunity to make a choice that gets us closer to or farther away from our goal. And it was incredibly helpful for me when I was going through this process and with other change processes to kind of use this as a metric. So it wasn't that I had to jump from where I am now to the end result, right? I didn't have to jump from drinking every day to not drinking ever again. I had to filter like, hey, what is a choice I can make today that's helping me get closer to where I want to go? Not all the way there, not over the hump, just closer. There is something incredibly empowering in this because every single person can do it. There is always a choice you can make that is going to help you get closer. Again, listening to this podcast is included in that, but so is anything else you might do, right? Maybe there's a choice to deal with some of the underlying issues that make drinking feel so intense or so necessary. Maybe it's a choice to have fewer drinks. Maybe it's a choice to set a date. Maybe it's a choice to read a book. Whatever that is, these choices are here and you get to make them every single day. And these smaller choices, while they may on their own seem insignificant, that's what actually adds up to get you where you want to go. So this whole process of change, it is one choice after another. So when we talk about this, then the question comes up of like, well, what if I make a choice I don't like? Well, that's fine, because in the future, you can choose not to do that. And actually, a huge part of this journey is recognizing what choices you do and don't like. A huge part of this journey is allowing for yourself to make these choices and to learn from them. So in a lot of ways, the fact that we always have a choice, the fact that every day shows up and we have choices on how we can go throughout our day, what we do, spend our time with, whether or not we drink, right? We can make these choices. But if we start making choices and we start looking at choice through the metric of, is this going to get me a step closer or a step farther away from where I want to go, we can lower the stakes significantly. So it doesn't feel like every single day we have to quit drinking for the rest of our lives. And instead, we can say, oh, wait a second. I just have to get there one choice at a time. And it's these choices that are the individual piece of the journey. And so then that leads us to, well, what am I doing today? What are you doing today? Right? What choices are you making today that are moving you closer to or farther away from where you want to go? It's funny because I was working with a client recently on losing weight, and we were talking about this exact idea that like this choice is always there for us. And when we can, when it comes to losing weight, there might be a number, say, on the scale, right? Say it's 50 pounds. You want to lose 50 pounds. That feels like a lot. Right? That feels like a lot. And if that's what you're carrying around every day and that's what you're looking at every day, eventually it's going to be heavy. However, the choice to sit at your desk and listen to a podcast or go for a 20-minute walk in the afternoon, that doesn't feel so heavy, right? And that choice is getting you closer to your goal, right? The choice to pack a lunch in the morning instead of go out, that doesn't feel as heavy. That gets you closer to your goal. And so what begins to happen when we look at the process this way is it begins to unfold in sort of these easier steps. This whole thing is about breaking down the process into one choice after another. And if you break it down small enough, you begin to realize that you always have a choice. Maybe it's not necessarily or doesn't feel like a choice to drink or not, but you always have a choice to put yourself a little bit closer every single day to where you want to go. And that is not stuck. So if you start feeling, oh man, I've been really stuck. And if you start feeling, I don't know how this is ever going to change, look at these choices. Look at what you can do to get even a little bit closer to your goal. Whatever that next step is. Framing your choices that way can make this entire journey, whatever it is you're trying to change, but especially with alcohol, it can make the entire journey feel so much more manageable. Well, there you go. What'd you think of that? Head on over to scottpiniard.com/podcast and Tell me, do you like this idea? Do you like this idea of breaking things down into individual choices, or do you not like it? I like to hear from you either way. scottpinier.com/podcast. That is it for me. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you again next week.